Let's move on to the Monday nighter. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns, 7-8, 2-5 on the road at Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-7-1, 5-2-1 at home. We're in Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mac Beaver says awful non-call against the Browns, resulting in the Packer pick, the fourth pick. Says Browns were driving for a winning field goal. This was after 3 previous Baker picks. Now, we did have a practice roster kicker who may or may not have kicked the field goal. But not getting there really hurt me. The 2 games in Vegas and Green Bay really hurt me because I had the over 9.5 wins and I had the Browns to win the division. And those bets are screwed, and the Browns have a 9% chance of making the playoffs now. But it will start with them beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see what we are dealing with. The Browns open up as 3-point road dogs. That's moved to 3.5 at some books. It's still at 3 at most. From a total perspective, we have this total opening up at 41, and there's been no movement there. 41 had to pick them either way. With the market here, we have just 2,811 picks. Again, this game is 6 days away. 41% of the tickets are on the Steelers, but 64% of cash is on the Steelers. The last Monday night of Big Ben's career. We have 72% of tickets on the under and 49% of cash on the under, yet it has not moved. Browns coming off in a heartbreaking 24-22 loss to Green Bay on Saturday. Baker 21-36 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Rashawn Gary had 2 of the Packers' 5 sacks. This offensive line for the Browns was decimated. Jedrick Wills and center J.C. Treader, both on the COVID-19 list. And even with that, Nick Chubb was a monster. 17 carries for 126 yards and a touchdown. He caught 3 passes for 58 yards. Rashard Higgins caught 5 passes for 58 yards. Jarvis Landry, 4 for 55. Their undermanned defense did well against Rodgers. They finished with no sacks, but did have 4 quarterback hits. Let's just take a look at this Browns squad, if there's been any update for the COVID issues that they've been going through. Again, this game pops off not for 6 days. But these are the COVID issues. Well, Auden Tate, who cares? He's already on. So Auden Tate was put there today. Sorry, that's Cincinnati. What the hell am I talking about, Auden Tate? Kareem Hunt is going to be good to go. They didn't put anybody on the COVID list today. Yesterday, they put Elijah Lee and Drew Forbes on the COVID list. Troy Hill was activated. Ronnie Harrison Jr. was activated. Those are good signs. Alex Taylor and Jordan Elliott were on the COVID list before the game started, and these are the other guys that we know. J.C. Treader, Greg Newsome, who's already dealing with a concussion. It wasn't like he was playing anyways. Tack McKinley, who's done, so it doesn't matter there. Tony Fields, Stephen Carlson. You know, that COVID list is getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Lighter and lighter and lighter, that COVID list. Pittsburgh comes in off an ugly 36-10 loss at Kansas City. They became the first team in NFL history. Listen to this. The first team in NFL history to trail by at least 23 points at halftime in 3 straight road games. That's how bad they've become. They've become historically bad. They failed to score a touchdown in the first half of 5 straight games. First time since 1940. Bebsie, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that they might be the first team in history to be getting blown out that bad and still celebrating meaningless plays.
Well, that touchdown by Deontay Johnson cost me the under, and that made me extremely, extremely angry. Roethlisberger was 23 of 35 for 159 yards, touchdown and a pick. He lost a fumble. Deontay Johnson caught 6 passes for 51 yards and a touchdown. He also lost a fumble. Najee Harris ran 19 times for 93 yards. Their defense was picked apart. Spillane had 13 tackles. Minkah Fitzpatrick had 12. They managed just 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. This COVID list includes linebacker Marcus Allen, offensive tackle Zach Banner, linebacker Devin Bush. He's a big one. Defensive end Isaiah Buggs, running back Anthony McFarland. Then defensive tackle Chris Wormley, linebacker Buddy Johnson, and tight end Pat Freiermuth. Freiermuth dealing with a concussion, were inactive last week and are listed as questionable this week. Here we go, Bebsie. I'm going to go back to see if anything's come up in the last few hours on their COVID list. But here we go, Bebsie. We have an angry Browns squad with one hope left. We have a Steelers squad with Big Ben playing his final Monday nighter, and they still could win 2 games and get into the playoffs, even though they're atrocious. And we see big bets coming in on the Steelers, shockingly. But they are home dogs in the divisional game. And we know that sharps will almost blindly bet home dogs in the divisional game. Take it away, Bebsie, Browns, Steelers, Monday Nighter.
Well, I guess what I'm going to say is a direct conflict with that. But I think it's Browns or no play. I'm probably not going to bet it. Because I wonder what they'll shoot Big Ben up with to play his last Monday Night Football game. And if he plays moderate to well, they have a shot. Somebody tweeted earlier this week, and it's one of the funnier things I've read in football recently. But they said Baker Mayfield is just sober Johnny Manziel. Which I thought was outstanding. Great work. It's not terribly inaccurate. And look, he's part of the reason why I won't back them. I've said this before. Everything has to be going right for Baker to play well. He needs great weapons and an excellent run game and a great O-line for him to play well. He's been missing parts of that. His O-line's been injured here and there. His running backs have been out. His receiving core is less than it was when OBJ was there. And he's just not – he's not a guy I want to lay money with. But I do believe that this Pittsburgh Steelers team is bad, and they are terrible on run defense. And – the Cleveland Browns have Nick Chubb, and he's an absolute beast. So I would lean the Browns, but it's Big Ben, Monday night, last game ever. Hard to bet against that. So I'm staying off of this. Logic says the Browns win, but who knows? Who knows what Big Ben, what drugs he'll be on to have a decent night.
I think you just talked me off the Browns. That's what I think you just did. And I think that makes sense. Slatsy says, as a lifetime Steelers fan, I will be so happy to move on from Ben. Crystal Warren says, I just can't. Oh, say what, Bebsie?
No, our good friend Rob Pugh has always been a Steelers fan, but cannot cheer for them because of Big Ben. So I think he'll be happy to see him move on as well.
Yeah, my girlfriend got me a Roethlisberger jersey right after the second bathroom assault, and didn't get a lot of use out of that jersey.
No, you don't want to be wearing that jersey.
No, he seems to have changed in a very positive way and raising a family and all that stuff. But Crystal Warren says, I just can't get around betting against Ben's last Monday game. I agree with Bebs. He's going to get far levels of meds for this game. The Chameleon says he's not even reading defenses correctly. Okay, so
that could apply to both quarterbacks. So are you talking about Ben?
Yeah.
You're talking about Baker.
I knew we were in trouble when Baker had the private plane, but I know he only had to do that because he didn't pass the COVID test that day. But Slatsy says Hollywood script, NFL wants a win for Big Ben. You know that. Well, you have talked me off of the Browns at this point. You've talked me off of the Browns. Let's just quickly touch on the total before we put a bow on this show and go over all of our action. What do you think of this total at 41? I'm going to just grab the weather report here very quickly, but what is your lean on the total?
I think that's a sharp total because I see it landing somewhere around there. I can't pick a guaranteed under, but I think it's going to have to be a run heavy attack for both teams. So I expect a reasonably low scoring affair. But a sharp total there that I suppose I would lean to the under if I was forced to make that pick, but not with much confidence.
Well, that is the Monday Nighter, 6 days away, and I think you talked a lot of sense in this spot. And I don't need to compound losses on the Browns. These last 2 weeks really hurt me with my futures because I have some nice looking futures. And then the Browns is just a money pit for me. Robert Allen taking the Browns. Pie Guy says Baker's number one receiver is the opponent's defense. That is the Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, your Monday nighter.